Welcome to week 3 of Atomic Habits.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe. I was going to finish something.
You're going to say book study? I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are Two Crazy Ketos.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome. Here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics, and then every Monday we go live on Keto on the Couch, where we just kind of talk about what's going on in our lives for the week.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way every single time we have a book study, you'll be alerted to it.
So I was going to say, welcome to week 3 of the Atomic Habits book study, how to apply good habits to your keto lifestyle.
Yes.
So this is week 3 where Rachel will be going over the Atomic Habits book. And I saw a couple things on here. Kelly said she was at the laundromat, and she's going to watch on the replay if there is one. If not, she's going to join next week. Nope. Once this is done with the live stream, it is permanently on our channel. Penny said this should be a good one. If you get to a place before it's over, you should be able to rewind if you wanted.
Oh, thanks so much.
Yeah. So are you ready to start this?
I'm ready. High five.
High five. So
don't leave me hanging.
We've got your slides over here, your comments and chat up there. I will monitor from the other room.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
Don't hit that button.
Don't hit stop stream, not yet. And don't hit go live because we're already live. So welcome to week 3 of our book study on Atomic Habits. Let me know in the chat about the atomic habit that you are currently working on. Is there a thought in the book that's helped you see a situation differently? That's what we're really hoping for. And I'd love to hear about it. Now, last week, we discussed the first law of behavior change, and that is make it obvious. This week, we're going to be moving on to the second law, and I did it, and that is make it attractive. It was interesting for me reading about the instinctive behavior of the baby gulls and the gray lag geese. I'm not a goose that I'm familiar with. We see their brains are actually preloaded with certain rules for behavior, and when they come across exaggerated versions of that rule, they light up like a Christmas tree. And it's easy to see how food companies have been able to use super normal stimuli to make their products appear irresistible to us. All right, so the next thing I wanted to bring up is how to make a habit irresistible, because that's our desire. We want to make a good habit irresistible instead of all of the irresistibility of our bad habits. Well, food companies spend millions of dollars to give their products the most satisfying crunch or fizz or mouthfeel and texture variety to provide our brains with a bliss point. And if you're like me and you felt guilty for struggling with a very specific, specialized, packaged product, I hope that this brings you some peace, because it really did help bring me some peace that I'm not crazy and I'm not weak. In fact, a team of brilliant scientists have been studying me and concentrating years of effort in making my food hyper palatable. Right? That they've been doing their job. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that I'm a less than person. It means that they've been going that extra mile to do their job well. Yes, I have mindlessly eaten junk food before, but it wasn't mindlessly put on store shelves. Whole food was created to feed us. Over processed food was created to fool us. Maybe somebody needs to write that down and put it on their refrigerator, because that is the truth. So let's check in with the chat and see how you guys are doing. I'm gonna turn that off, and then I'm gonna do as Joe suggested and go this way to the chat. Deb says, the 1 more minute I'm using for my music practice and my exercising as well. 1 more minute of repetition each time I perform these tasks so that in 1 year, I'll be 37 to 38% better. I think that is an awesome strategy. And I think the 1 more minute thing is totally doable, right? If I want to, try to work in an hour of doing things better, that's a daunting number, but 1 more minute makes it feel very doable. Sarah, hey Sarah, she says, set out my electrolytes the night before. Yes, you're making what you want to do visible. You're seeing it. I loved how we talked about last week. Susan, I just got to see Susan last weekend, but Susan B, she makes it visible. It's hard to argue with your workout clothes when they're sitting in the bathroom sink, right? Just these little habits mean so much. So let me click on that. Boop. And we can keep on going. Our next slide is we see the more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it is to become habit forming. That makes sense, right? We have the brains of our ancestors. That's why the proper human diet, an ancestral diet, makes sense. But we have the temptations that our ancestors never had to face, right? Like they never had to deal with what we are dealing with, right? To sell us clothing, stores use mannequins with exaggerated features. Social media engages us with more likes and praise in a few minutes than we could ever get in the office or at home. Video games deliver us a concentrated form of play, and it makes what is simple and natural and real much less attractive to us. How can, outside and taking a walk around the block compete for our children with the experience of video games, right? I mean, that is a lot. So if we want to lay down the video controller and be happy about going, what's going on outside instead, we're going to have to make this habit attractive. It makes me think about all of the movies like Can't Buy Me Love. Anybody a fan of the movie Can't Buy Me Love, where you have a cool kid and a nerdy kid, and the nerdy kid gets a makeover and the cool kid then starts to like them. And then as they get closer, the cool kid realizes that not only are they cute now on the outside, but they're of higher quality character on the inside. So share with me, if it's not your movie, Can't Buy Me Love, share with me what's another movie that you like that kind of does that, where you have a nerdy kid and a cool kid, and the nerdy kid gets a makeover. It's the same with habits. For me, glamping gave going outside a makeover for me. Once I could sleep in an actual bed, I needed to be able to sleep in an actual bed. All right, sleeping on the floor, on the ground, makes camping less appealing to me. But if you could give me an actual bed in air conditioning, I was more attracted to outdoor activities. And the more I do outside on camping trips, the more warm thoughts that I start to have, like, oh, this fresh air and sunlight is so wonderful for me. Night sky, where have you been all of my life? I love going outside now, but before camping, I wasn't sure that the outdoors and me would work. Does that make sense? So let's see what you guys are saying. Ooh, previous slide. Okay, here we go. Let me scroll down. Sylvia says, I have gone back to writing out a to-do list every morning with my first cup of coffee. I had forgot how much I enjoy crossing off a list as done. I think that that is so good. We definitely have to take an inventory about what brings us joy. How are you going to know what to replace a bad habit with if we don't take some time to see what is something that we actually enjoy and value? We need to explore that a little bit. And that's going to be a good thing, because at the worst, let's say you spend a couple of hours this week trying canoeing, riding a bicycle again, trying roller skates. Like, the worst thing that can happen is you say to yourself, that's not my favorite thing, but you still know that you spent your time wisely. There's so many times that I've just lost a day binge watching on Netflix. If I want to, do something else, I've got to give some other things a try, right? Betsy says, while cleaning my kitchen every night, something I want to do, I pray. I don't know if that makes sense. I enjoy cleaning my kitchen. That totally makes sense. My mother loves tidying things up and making sure, like she likes doing, making decorative kind of vignettes. So anything that she would pair with that activity, she's going to enjoy it more because it's something she naturally already enjoys. There is, let me see if I can get my cursor to go down. All right. It's like, it won't go on the one screen, Joe. Let's see. I can't get it to click off. Can I click on here? Nope. For whatever reason, I can't make it go down. I need help from a Joe. Let's see. 10 things I hate about you. I see Dennis is mentioning. That's definitely one of those like nerdy makeovers.
What'd you do?
I can't make it go down.
I told you not. That's what.
It's got to be the side screen. Is that it? Oh, okay.
What are you trying to do?
That's it. I just want to click off this comment right here.
This is what happens when you have 5 screens.
I know. This is it makes it more confusing. So let's see what is on the next screen. Okay, so James informs us that habits are a dopamine-driven feedback loop. When dopamine rises, so does our motivation to act. So there's definitely some stuff going on the inside, okay? Every behavior that is highly habit forming, whether it is taking drugs, eating junk food, playing video games, browsing social media, is associated with higher levels of dopamine. Dopamine isn't just all about pleasure. It actually plays a central role in many neurological processes, including motivation, learning and memory, punishment and aversion, and voluntary movement. So it's kind of like insulin. Sometimes we will, demonize insulin. We never want insulin. If we just had no insulin, it wouldn't, that would be the best thing. No, we need insulin, right? We want to have the ability to run from a lion if it's chasing us, correct? And we want dopamine to work properly. We want it to do its job. Now, what this book has helped me realize is, it is the anticipation of a reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to actually take action. The greater the anticipation, the greater the dopamine spike. That was really a powerful statement to me, because that's why the build up to Christmas feels so much more exciting than the moment when all of your gifts are actually unwrapped and they belong to you. That's why you get mad at the kids, at least I have in the past, when they finish opening their presents at their birthday party and they kind of look around like they're wondering what else is there for me. You're like, I made an entire party for you. Why are you not satisfied? There's balloons and games and a bounce house and favors for your friends. Why are you looking for something else? That is not being ungrateful. They are not demonstrating ingratitude. They've just been on such a dopamine trip, anticipating all of these things, that coming back down to a normal state feels very weird. I mean, does that make sense? They're not wanting more presents. They're actually wanting more dopamine. That's what they're experiencing. That's why someone can plan a big carbohydrate day, maybe for a birthday or an anniversary, and be anticipating the menu with so much excitement. They're planning on one food from one place and one food from another place they're gonna go to, and so on. But immediately after they actually get everything that they've been planning for, they don't feel more high like they're anticipating. They actually feel less high. It is a letdown. That's because there is more of a dopamine rush planning for the food than actually eating the food. That thought right there makes me stop in my tracks, and I hope that it does the same thing for you. I need to evaluate my planning. What am I planning for? Maybe it's time for someone to stop planning off keto days so elaborately, right? Leave it at, hey, on my birthday, I'm just going to be less rigid about ingredients. Boom, that's it. Nothing to get excited about here. Instead, let's go all in planning the activities that we're going to be doing on my birthday. You know, you can just really go all in. I'm going to go bowling at a retro bowling alley, and I'm going to wear this super cute top that I saw. And after bowling, I'm going to go to the movies, you know, go ahead and watch the trailer for the movie, go window shopping for a cute top, watch a YouTube video on tips for bowling. Let your brain enjoy the dopamine planning, but planning the non-food details. Does that make sense? Let me see if I can go to the next slide and stay on target and be back in the chat here. So Paul says, trying habit stacking to stop eating late and go to bed early. Set a reminder to brush my teeth at 10 p.m. No one wants to eat after that, and then I'm more ready for bed. Okay, Paul, you are so absolutely right. I cannot eat after I brush my teeth. I just can't do it. I've got to let the toothpaste wear off. I can honestly say anytime that we have vlogged in the morning, now don't go back and check at how ugly my teeth are, but when we have like a morning and you see us like eating, you know, drinking coffee and eating a breakfast, I have not brushed my teeth yet because I cannot eat after I brush my teeth. So if you're trying to not eat, for me, don't go brush your teeth, Rachel, because then it's done. So I love that. Kelly says, Mrs. Doubtfire, absolutely. Talk about a weird makeover that reveals things. You are so right about that. And I love that movie too. Let's see. Paul says the whole account of dopamine experiments on rats was really eye-opening. I felt the same way. I felt so bad for them that it was like when they lost the dopamine, they lost the will to live even. That is how powerful of a motivator and what the obstacle that we're dealing with. So hopefully this whole talk is going to help people give themselves some grace. Hey, mommy. Mommy says, I am trying to be more present in what I am doing, not mindlessness, just taking up time. I think that is really, really helpful. Becca says, that's why I always crash after a weekend at a convention. It's a well-known thing, the post-con grunge. I absolutely have experienced that. I love Comic Cons in particular, but yes, it's the same thing for when we go to Universal Studios or any day of fun at the park. We say that all the time. You're never more tired than water park tired or amusement park tired. Why is that? Because you've been planning for this. You are jazzed for this. And so, yes, it makes sense that you are, tired after that. Kelly says, I realized binges that repeat is because the food doesn't meet the wired anticipation. I need new habits and accountability partners. I love that. That is such a good perspective. All right, let's see. The next slide is dun 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 dun. Okay, so we learn temptation bundling is one way to make your habits more attractive. The strategy is to pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do. I am so old that as I was reading this book, I was thinking about must-see TV, but the lineup is for someone younger than me. I remember when the must-see TV lineup actually still involved Friends and Seinfeld. What about you? Anybody else as old as I am? It worked though. They needed me to be added to their viewership, and I wanted to relax and be entertained. And so we bundled up, the two of us, NBC and me. And it wasn't long before I was saying things like, no, I can't go out on Thursday. That's my night to just relax and watch TV. The formula for temptation bundling is after a habit I need, I will perform a habit that I want. After I begin my morning walk, I'll listen to that new book I've been wanting to read. While I get a pedicure, I'll go through my emails because Joe's always on me to empty out my emails. The formula gets even more powerful when you add habit stacking, like from last week's discussion. If you know you like to check Facebook or Instagram, but you need to exercise more, here is a good plan. After I pull out my phone, I'm gonna stand up and sit down 10 times. You notice that I removed the burpees that he suggested, right? So I'm gonna just stand up and sit down 10 times. After I stand up and sit down for 10 times, then and only then, I will check Facebook or Instagram. Honestly, this is a win-win. Either you will become more fit or you will spend less time on social media. I feel like, that's a win-win. Let me know in the chat, how are you going to fill in the temptation bundling formula? So while you're doing that, we're gonna talk about our next slide, which is the role of family and friends in shaping your habits. We see that the culture we live in determines which behaviors are attractive to us. What did you guys think of the Polgar sisters growing up to be chess champions? Do you wish that maybe if you can go back in time, you would have done something similar to your kids, maybe make them some chess champions? But it was interesting. We tend to adopt habits that are praised and approved by our culture because we have a strong desire to fit in and belong to the tribe. And we see that the Polgar sisters grew up in a culture that prioritized chess above all else. This culture praised them for it, rewarded them for it. In their world, an obsession with chess was normal. Whatever habits are normal in your culture are among the most attractive behaviors you'll find. That may be a motivator for some parents to take an inventory of what is actually being prioritized in the culture of their house. The intention may be to prioritize exercise and activity, but is that what I'm surrounding my kid with? That's the question. Does the inside of my house, where my kids spend so much time, look more like the inside of a sporting goods store or a grocery store? Are there pictures on their walls that are associated with their favorite athletic activity, like maybe a baseball field that is outside? Or are the pictures on their walls of their favorite video game or movie? To keep their thoughts on a more indoor activity. Let's see what you guys are saying about this. You see that I do this singing thing. Mom says, being a Southern mom meant you were a food pusher. Absolutely. We were surrounded by food. There's no shame in that. I hope that if you're a mom like me and your kids are already grown now, don't beat yourself up for what you can't do. We can't do Back to the Future. I cannot get in a DeLorean and change my behavior from the past. Now that I know better, I will do better. But definitely, we were surrounded by food. Kelly says, I was raised farm and ranch, was a lot older before I realized not everyone knew how to pull a baby calf or strip out cow udders. That is absolutely valid. We see that, right? It's what you are surrounded with. And, sometimes we can be very judgy. I know that there was a girl that I went to school with, and she was a gymnast. And we would talk about what was our morning routine. And her morning routine involved getting up at 4:30 in the morning and being at her gym before school. And I thought, that sounds crazy. That sounds weird. But it's not weird if you grew up in a gymnast house. That was exactly what you did. It just makes sense, right? Betsy says, bad things like abuse can create bad habits, but now we know how to change that. Yay. Yeah, absolutely. You get to change your environment. We talked about that in previous weeks, that things don't need to just happen to us anymore, but we can actually, take control about what we are surrounding ourselves with right now. Paul says, keto in my present social circle is not the norm. So community like this is more important, as a helpful environment. That is so important. That's such a great thought, Paul. And we are going to continue to talk about that as we move on. So the next thing is we tend to imitate the habits of 3 social groups. So here's our social groups: the close family, who are your family and friends, the many, which is the tribe, and the powerful, those with status and prestige. And we talk about the value of community, just like Paul is mentioning all the time. Community builds commitment. If you're having trouble getting in the habit of being keto, interact more in social media, keto groups like ours, definitely positive ones, and you can take a temperature of a group pretty quickly if you're seeing, a lot of like nasty, snarky remarks, or you're seeing, people be very positive and encouraging. Interact more in the chat right here or in our live streams. This is your opportunity to make friends with somebody, to ask for help, to put a shout out there and say like, hey, anybody in the Southern Florida area, I would love to meet somebody and get to have somebody to go to eat with. This is your opportunity. Get more involved. So we see that there are 2 things that you can do to build better habits. All right. And the first one is join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. And then the next one is join a group where you already have something in common with the group. Now, I will tell you that I had no worries that my temptation to have something keto would or to have something carby would overwhelm me when we went to dinner last Thursday night with the 2 KK meatheads that were in the same space as us. Why? Because I'm keto and they're keto, and it is normal to eat keto. Even if I had an after dinner craving for a sugary dessert, we see this exemplified. The normal behavior of the tribe often overpowers the desired behavior of the individual. Most days we'd rather be wrong with the crowd than be right by ourselves. And my craving for a dessert in a keto crowd is going to get answered with meh. Nobody else is having dessert. I probably don't need one either. That's going to be a much different response if you go out with a group of people who tend to be like, who wants to share dessert with me? Have you ever gone out to dinner with somebody that you could always count on to say, hey, who wants to split a dessert with me? You almost feel obligated in that situation to eat dessert with them. They're like, help me out, right? Share this guilt with me. And you want to automatically lift their burden in this area, right? So if a behavior can get us approval, respect, and praise, we find it attractive. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. I can see who you surround yourself with. I could take a look at it right now. If you are not surrounding yourself with anybody and staying very isolated, I can tell you right now, you're gonna struggle. And if you constantly also surround yourself with people who undermine what you're trying to do, or they're completely opposite of you in your thinking, I can show you your future right there also. Take a look at your friends. You don't need to necessarily ditch them. You just need to change the location of your get-togethers. They're not restaurant friends, right? Does that make sense? Maybe they're mini golf friends instead. They're pool friends. They're hiking friends. They're not foodie friends. So let's go ahead and check in with the chat and see if you guys are sharing some ideas you have. Melinda says, Selena, just say no thank you and misdirect with something non-food related. I love that you guys are sharing ideas with one another. Lillian says, share dessert. I'm like Joey from Friends. Lillian doesn't share food. That is great to know that about yourself. But if you are with somebody who is okay to eat a sugary dessert, even just their prompt of like, hey, who wants to share with me, can immediately maybe trigger you to go ahead and add a dessert that you didn't plan on eating when you came into the restaurant. Hey, Becky's here, says you need fellowship everywhere. Absolutely. That is why, honestly, CrossFit is so effective. It is a group mentality. Bronson will say that to you. CrossFit is all about cheering for one another. You may be in an exercise class and you are, doing the exercise yourself. Maybe you even need it to be modified for your specific circumstance. It doesn't matter in a CrossFit. Everybody is cheered on. Everybody is celebrated. And that group mentality that, hey, we're all together in this, really helps to build the commitment and the follow through. Uh-oh, I did it again, Joe. Let's see if I can get it to go lower. Oh, I got it back. I saw it. If I come in from below, Joe's gonna kill me. Let's see. Can I go? Oh, there it goes. Okay, it went up. I fixed it, Joe. You're gonna be so proud of me. All right, so let's see the next one. Okay, the next thing we're gonna take a look at is how to find and fix the causes of your bad habits. I'm super excited about this. And we see that the inversion of the second law of behavior change is make it unattractive. So we want to make a new good habit attractive, and we want to make a bad habit unattractive. I love the book James referenced on how to stop smoking. I can definitely see the benefit of using that same strategy to stop consuming sugar if you're having a hard time with it. Let's take a second and apply some of the statements in the book to immediately make sugar less attractive, okay? So here's a quote. You think you're quitting something, but you're not quitting anything because sugar does nothing for you. That's accurate, right? You think sugar is something you need to incorporate into your family get-togethers to be social, but you don't. You can be social without eating even one mouthful of sugar. Does that speak into anybody's journey? Are you having trouble disconnecting from eating sugar when you're at a potluck or at a family gathering? That may be a powerful statement to just kind of roll around in your thoughts more. You think sugar is about relieving stress, but it's not. Sugar does not relieve your nerves. It actually adds to your nervous energy. If we could kind of, change the script going on in our heads, because all of the statements I just made are true. I'm not fooling myself. I was actually fooling myself before this change in mindset when I would say things like chocolate cake turns a bad day around. Chocolate cake has no power to turn a bad day around. And I've said before, wrongly, I can't enjoy my morning without a sugary Starbucks drink. I've said that, like, I can't get this day started until I drink my favorite Starbucks drink. That is just simply not true. I can absolutely get everything that I have to get done in the morning without that, particular drink. Why? Because I lived my life up until I discovered it. So clearly I can have a morning without that drink. I think it's important to take a closer look at our habits because of this reason. Every behavior has a surface level craving and a deeper underlying motive. So why do we spend so much time on Facebook? Because we want to connect and bond with others. Why do we post on Instagram? Because we want to win the social acceptance and approval that those likes bring to us. Why do I have to check IMDb every single time I watch a movie? Because I want to reduce uncertainty. Where else have I seen this actress? I feel like if I have to go to bed and not remember, like, what other movie was this person in, I'm gonna go crazy, right? Why do the kids play video games? Because we want to achieve status and prestige. It makes complete sense. If you go to school all day and maybe you're having some struggle with a concept that's being presented in math or English or science, and you're like, gosh, I don't feel like I am, achieving the status that I want to at school. Where can I get some instant status and approval and feel good about myself? It's by getting proficient in video games. It instantly will give that to our kids. And we see that your habits are modern day solutions to ancient desires. The feeling of wanting to fit in, that is not new. We just have new ways to answer that question. Let's go ahead and check in with the chats and see what you guys are sharing. Synergy says, I tell people at gatherings that I'm there for the company, not the food. Makes it hard for them to protest. You're absolutely right. When you come in with kindness and you say to them, I love you so much. I love you without the covered dish that you're bringing to this event. I would come here and see you and hug your neck if there was nothing here to enjoy. If there was no event, I'd come and see you if the air conditioning was turned off and we were in South Florida. That's how intentional I was about coming and seeing you today. And it is hard to argue when you're just sharing your heart with somebody. Lillian says, habits are manifestations of neural pathways formed in childhood. They're all rooted in survival, protection, or connection. So you're absolutely right. And when you see that there's deeper roots to why we're doing something, I think it's worth the investment to follow that. Instead of just eating the fruit of that tree, trace it back to the root. Take some time to ask yourself, when did I start relying on this ice cream to bring me out of the doldrums? When did this begin? I would like to investigate this so maybe I can change some things that I'm doing. Jackie says, I had to start binging keto carnivore YouTube videos of doctors and vloggers to help keep me motivated to stay away from the junk. I work in a factory, so everyone has sugar, fast food, soda, honey buns, etc. Absolutely. And what you do to stay on track does not need to look like somebody else's way to stay on track. That makes sense, right? How many times have we talked about a product and tasted it and we've said, hey, taste is subjective. You may purchase this and it not appeal to you, right? Somebody out there loves grape keto chow. It's not this girl, but that doesn't devalue the fact that it does appeal to someone's taste. And that's the same thing. Somebody may really enjoy doing a certain activity and somebody doesn't like it at all. If you've got a fear of heights, traveling in a hot air balloon is probably not something that you're going to be excited about participating in. But then there's somebody else that's like, wow, I would love to have this. My sense of adventure and wonder, would really enjoy that. Right? So let's take a look at what is next. We take a look at this and it says, the cause of your habits is actually the prediction that precedes them. The prediction leads to a feeling. My habit to not touch a stove when it's on is because of my prediction that I have a feeling that if I touch the hot stove, it's going to burn me. I love that James brings out the fact that many times the root of our behavior is simply the desire to feel different. I've been sitting here for a while and I want to feel differently. So I walk to the kitchen to get a snack. I'm in a different place. I'm standing up in a different position. I'm doing something different than sitting at my computer and working. My hands are now occupied. My mouth is now occupied in a different way. Well, you can achieve the same result by grabbing a bottle of water and taking a quick walk around the block. Why? Because you're suddenly in a different place. Remember, you just were seeking something different. Now you're in a different position. Now you're practicing a different behavior. If I'm walking, I'm not sitting down at a computer continuing to work on this project. My hands are occupied in a different way. I am no longer, typing. Now I'm utilizing my water bottle. My mouth is now occupied, but it doesn't involve any food. And James suggests that we need to highlight the benefits of avoiding a bad habit to make it seem unattractive. If I avoid the kitchen after I finish a stressful phone call, for instance, I won't get sucked into the refrigerator. It is impossible for me to eat something besides grass and dirt if I take this stress outside and walk around the block. There is nothing for me to consume, and I really just need 10 minutes. 10 minutes would change everything. By 20 minutes, if I gave myself 20 minutes to decompress, not only would I not eat the entire contents of my refrigerator, but I might actually start feeling good, right? I might remember a thought that is outside of the negative thought that's weighing me down. I will, maybe I will blow off steam by Googling dad jokes that I can aggravate Joe with instead of walking into the kitchen, because there's nothing helpful for me there. I'm just looking for something different. So why not just look for something different outside of the kitchen? We see that habits are attractive when we associate them with positive feelings and unattractive when we associate them with negative feelings. So if we can create a motivational ritual by doing something that you enjoy immediately before doing a difficult habit, I think we're going to be really successful. So I don't have to eat keto. I get to eat keto. That needs to be the first thing that is on it. That's, our change in mindset, because that is really powerful. Where does our mind go all the time? It goes to what you don't get to have anymore. Like, I have to eat keto on this vacation. We need to change that mindset. I get to eat keto. Why? Because there are people all over the world not eating keto right now, and they are staying sick. I'm so thankful that that's not me anymore. I get to eat the proper human diet. I don't have to walk around the block today. I get to walk around the block today. There are people who are not able to do this. They cannot walk. I'm not that person. I don't have to help my kid with their homework today. I get to help my kid with their homework. There are people that are still dreaming about being a parent, and my dream of becoming a parent has come true, and I'm so thankful for that. Once we have this better perspective and we have a different thought script that's running through our mind, turn it into a habit by pairing it with something that you enjoy. So for instance, I love scavenger hunts. I just really like it. I like games like that. So when I go on a walk today, I'm going to see how many yard decorations that I can spot. You might want to pair these two habits. Every 20 minutes, my kid and I get to take a break from studying for a quick game of Uno. That's a better way to continue doing the right thing without feeling like you're just white knuckling the experience. Okay, so we're going to finish up by checking in the chat. Gosh, we're making really great time today. I do want to share that for next week, I just want you to read the third law, which is make it easy. That's what we're going to be talking about to next week. Make it easy. But I do want to check in with the chat and see what you guys are saying. If you have some other suggestions. Let's see. Becky says, what positive action are you going to replace for sugar? Are you going to go for a workout? FaceTime someone instead of eating? Drink your electrolytes? That's a great thought. Pairing electrolytes when you're looking for a sugary something is very helpful. Why? Because a lot of these electrolytes have a sweetener in them. A lot of times you will fulfill your sweet tooth by giving it salt. Sometimes what you really want is salt, and you're not even wanting sugar. So that's a great replacement for it. Melinda says, my autistic child was taught using positive reinforcement. I'm just lost of what my positive reinforcement for myself should be. Caleb is my youngest son is a behavioral therapist who primarily works with autistic children, and they do the same thing. They use positive reinforcement. They're constantly, showing him as he works with new things, that his clients will be trying to learn new behaviors and be able to expand their vocabulary and what they're, able to do. They use positive reinforcement. You need to know what it is that you like. You need to do some investigation for yourself and find out what are some things that you enjoy. I totally think it's valuable to keep a list as you try new activities. And note, you need to be exploring things that you can do indoors. You need to be exploring things you could do outdoors. You need to be exploring things, what could you do on a rainy day or a sunny day? What costs money and brings you joy? What is free and you enjoy? You're gonna have to explore it, because if you don't, you're just going to default back to how you used to speak into stress and your needs, and you're just going to feed your craving with what you've been doing. We're trying to replace that, so it's going to require some investigation. Kathleen says, I bring my own keto food to the potluck. I see others eating all those carbs and sugar and am proud of myself that I don't want them or eat them. That is fantastic. Like, I hope that, again, people will get in their mind, I get to eat keto. If you would just change that mindset and you would just change that one word, get, instead of have, it's a very powerful, perspective. Something that we've always done, in our church staff is say we get to serve people. When you're peopling, when you're interacting with people have stuff, they have issues, they have baggage. If you're, working in a job where you have, customer relations, maybe you work in retail. I've been there, and people are hard. They're challenging. I can remember many times when I worked in Party City or Aldi in the past, and I thought to myself, man, somebody is they're buying something, but they're thinking that this interaction with me, like they own me in this moment, and it's very challenging because they want to yell at somebody. Maybe they're out, that maybe they're out of control in some other area of their life, and so they're really going to take it out on you in a retail experience. And so the thought that I have to go back to that workplace is really can be challenging. So instead, go to work as you're getting dressed, be like, I'm so excited I get to go to this workplace. I get to interact with people. I get to serve people, and enter the space hopeful that, yeah, there might be a negative interaction, and sometimes that's the only thing we bring home from a day at work. But I can remember when I was at Party City, and for every really negative interaction, I would at least have 10 or 15 sweet interactions, or, at least they weren't mean, right? It was a neutral reaction. But if I focus on what's negative, it's like, it's all negative. That's kind of where my brain will go. Jackie says, talking to Penny, says, it's definitely rough sometimes, but I definitely talk up what I'm doing, even though they look at me crazy. Let them think that you're crazy. If you're able to have forward momentum in an area of your life where previously you did not feel in control, I'm okay with people seeing that I'm crazy, right? I'm so crazy that I'm crazy with a K, and we named our channel after it. I understand that people are gonna see, me as crazy sometimes, but it's all right because I'm crazy like a fox, right? And we're getting healthy and enjoying our life. So I can let go of some judgment that other people may have on me. And also, as the keto community grows and we are interacting more with keto people and we're making friendships and we're seeing people, even when we go on vacation and we're interacting with our keto friends, it stops feeling weird and it starts feeling normal. Melinda says, my keto journey is to get healthy, no more diabetes, leg pain, high blood pressure, and gain healthy nerves in my body. Pain is a powerful motivator. It really, really is. And that helps me to look at my plate. You know, if I'm out with somebody, I don't need to have FOMO. I don't need to have the fear of missing out. If I will say my FOMO, my missing out is inflammation. I am missing out on weight gain. I am missing out on depression. I'm missing out on anxiety and social anxiety. I was so thankful that we could speak to people when we went away last weekend, that I could travel with new friends. I could go into a dining room and not have seen anybody, you know, not seen everybody in person. I was meeting people for the first time. There's no way in the past, pre-keto, that my social anxiety would have allowed me to do that. So that's a very powerful motivator. You're right, I'm missing out. I'm missing out on all of the pain and the hurt that I was experiencing before keto. Helps me stay on track. Jen says, there was so much info to unpack in chapter 2. Absolutely. I had to read it twice, and I'm still going to go back and read it again to absorb it all. I really hope that as you guys, reread it, that you see how much energy has been put into selling you products. They are leveraging what they know. People are studying, why do people react a certain way? There are very highly paid psychologists who go into a casino and say, how can we make this casino appealing environmental wise where people won't leave and they will continue to spend money? So when someone feels bad about a gambling addiction, there's been a lot of concentrated energy to help you in your addiction. And it's the same thing for a carbohydrate and sugar addiction. Like, there's a lot of concentrated energy to continue hitting you with bliss points and hitting you with smells that will trigger that. They know what they're doing. So let yourself have some grace. Forgive yourself. It's time to let go of some of the shame instead of some of the fear about what you've done in the past and move forward in some confidence, because now that you know what they've been doing to trick you, you can use the same, tactics to walk you into a new and more positive behavior. My mom says, having a grateful heart changes my attitude. I am well enough to walk, sing, talk to friends. Absolutely. We need to, wherever you point your dashboard and your front window, that's the direction you're headed. If you only drive your car with the windshield headed towards mistakes that you've made, you will never get anyplace else. You have got to turn the car and head in the direction of where you're going and something positive. If you want to see something good happen, head your car in that direction. There is nothing for you back there. There's nothing that you can change behind you. You need to move forward, and you've got to keep your front windshield headed in, the direction of where you want to go. There's a reason why the rear view mirror is small and the windshield is big. That's the direction that you're going to. So don't make more, concentrate more energy in going backward than you are moving forward, if that makes sense. Jackie says, I'm about to get to coat some bottom round steak in some pork rinds and fry it up in lard. Hello. How many people do you work with that could even look forward to something like that? They're like, well, I don't have access to that. My doctor would never let me have that. They're not experiencing the dinner that you're experiencing. That's great. Sylvia says, I get to eat more than 4 ounces of meat and feeling satisfied after eating instead of always feeling hungry. Yes, I do not have that. What is that? The stomach noise that you get, that when you're trying to just white knuckle a day and you're trying to calorie restrict so desperately to have some forward momentum. It's nice to never have that sound. Have you noticed that, Joe?
I have. You did good.
Thanks so much. Let's see if there's just any more before we close out. Jen says, I get to go to the gym with my husband and help us both become healthier. That is so awesome. That is a really powerful thing to just note. If you have a partner that is willing to just not undermine what you're doing, let alone somebody that's willing to, cook your food or, like Joe is. I was talking to somebody that was going on the cruise, and the husband was almost trying to say, I'm so sorry. However, I'm not keto yet, but I'm keto supportive, and I help to cook her, food and make sure that, I'm fueling what she's trying to do. I think that is so powerful, really.
That's really good.
Let's see, couple more. Dennis says, I have seen the old movie In and Out with Kevin Kline and Christopher Reeves, but have yet to see the animation Inside Out. There you go. There's something to look forward to. If there's I would so much rather you look forward to enjoying, a new movie than looking backward at what you can't, participate in. Becky says, carry some Redmond salt with you when you have a craving for food, shake it on the tongue. It goes a long way. I definitely find that to be true too.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why I always carry a Redmond pixie stick, I call them, because when we're out and I just need a little something, I take the electrolytes, and it honestly just answers that immediate craving and helps me to continue going on about my day. Oh, I like this. Penny says, I like being weird. It keeps things interesting. I like being weird too. I hope it blesses you to know you're not the only weird person. Do you know anybody? Is there anybody out there that could be weirder than me?
Not possibly.
Not possible. So you're already not the weirdest person that you know. I'll be that. I'll be the weirdest person you know, so you can, take the edge off of you feeling weird and awkward. What do you think?
I'm hungry. That's what
You're ready? You're ready to eat? So Synergy says, really enjoying this book study. Thanks, Rachel and the tribe. Absolutely. And just a reminder, for next week, we're going to be reading the third law, make it easy. I love me making it some easiness. What do you like? Yep. Easy or hard?
I always want it easy.
Easy. Efficient.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Now, don't forget, tomorrow night, Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern is going to be our regular Thursday night live stream. We'll also probably talk a little bit more about the bomb that we dropped yesterday with people. We've gotten some email questions about it, so we're going to discuss more about that tomorrow during our live stream. We're not done with kids ministry yet.
No.
We just gave our notice.
We did. We're gonna be continuing to work through the middle of June.
Yeah.
Want to give everybody enough time to transition over.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and we will check in with everybody tomorrow night. Have a good night.
We love you.
Bye.